What's up, everybody? What's up? Welcome back to another Legal Hands to the Face podcast. We got a great guest today, a 12-year NFL veteran, the one and only Barrett Brooks. What's up, Barrett?
What's going on, Bill? How's it going today, man? Appreciate you having me on.
I really appreciate you coming on. Now, you guys probably recognize Barrett's voice, and if you're following along on social, you see him on the pregame, the postgame. He does the Birds Huddle. I mean, you're doing a lot of great stuff for the Eagles, man.
Man, I like money. I want all the money. So if you want all the money, you got to do all the work, man. So, no, man, I really enjoy it, man. I'm glad that people listen to me. One thing I do, man, I just try to tell the truth. When I said it at that point, in my head, it was the truth. And more times than not, it hadn't failed me, man. So I figure as long as I tell the truth, I'm good.
Yeah, I enjoy watching you. I enjoy listening to you.
Appreciate
You're doing a great job right now because we're in that lull right now. It's a little bit of a slow time. But I like what you're doing on the Birds Huddle. You're breaking down the most important 25 players going into this season. So I've been really enjoying watching that. And you're with Amy Fadul. You guys do a real nice job.
Appreciate it, man. And breaking down this top 25, man, I tell you what, man, we probably could have won all 51 guys on this team because, I mean, this is a special team, a lot more special than what people are giving credit for.
I'm excited.
I'm going to tell you this, Bill. Just because we're Philly does not mean we can't have nice things. And I'm trying to get people out of that. You know what I'm saying? Let's get out of that. We are from Philly. Yes, we are. And we do care. But at this point, just because we have a good team, we can't, it's not like we can't endorse them as a good team. It's not, it's not going to be one of those things bad. Oh, it's bad luck to say. No, this is a good team, a really, really good team, a solid team, built fundamentally sound. So, yeah, I'm on the wagon. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, whatever. Say what you want to say, but this is a good team.
You know how we are, though, man. We are a nervous fan base. We always have been. What I attribute that to, though, is you look at other cities. Pretty much every other major city has had a dynasty of some sort. We've never had it. The closest thing we came was the 74-75 Philadelphia Flyers. I mean, since then, there's never been a team that has been a dynasty. I mean, you look at Boston, right? They had the Red Sox, had their World Series drought, but then they had the Patriots, they had the Bruins, they had the Celtics. You look at the Chicago Cubs. Okay, they didn't win the World Series. They had the Bulls. I mean, every other city has had a dynasty. I think that's why we're such a nervous fan base.
Bro, we went to the Super Bowl 3 times. Well, 4 times, really. It's a 4-time Super Bowl. And we've won 1. And if you go all the way down to the 95 corridor, we're the only team that just has 1. So I understand the angst that we can have going into this season about our team. But I tell you what, fundamentally, we are so, so good, man.
Yeah, and I want to get into the 2023 Eagles with you in a minute. And guys, if you're not following along on social media, head over to all your favorite social media platforms. We're everywhere. Legal Hands to the Face. Give us a like. Give us a follow. If you're not already subscribed to the podcast, give us a subscription. Give us a follow. And please leave us a review. It really helps us reach more Eagles fans. We're going to have some great guests. We got Barrett today. We had Johnny Marks last week. So keep listening because we got a lot of great things planned. And Barrett, for those who don't know, what was your NFL career like?
Man, I tell you what, I played 12 years. The average football career is 3 years. That's why the NFL is smart. You don't become a vested veteran until you play 3 years and 3 games. So you got to go into that 4th year and at least play 3 games before you can get vested. And plus, those scout team years, those when you're on the practice squad, they don't count. You got to be on the active roster for 3 years and at least 3 games. So I played 12 years, and I like to say I didn't have that star-studded career like, Pro Bowls or anything like that. But I will say this, I've collected many checks from many owners, man. You know what I'm saying? I was good enough that I was on a team, and, I made sure I filled that void that they couldn't play without, put it like that, especially my last 4 years playing with the Steelers. I was one of those things where I was more so a player type / coach, I just did the little things. Like more times than not, when you go into a game, you could only dress 47 guys out of the 53. Well, I was good because I played all 3 positions. I was toward the end of my career, I understood, look, I got to make sure that I know center, guard, and tackle. I could make all the calls. I knew what everybody was doing because they could dress me instead of dressing 2 offensive linemen. Usually you dress a guy to play center guard, then you dress a tackle. Well, since I played all three, they would just dress me. And, it led to them, being able to dress another linebacker or dress another wide receiver if the numbers were kind of, tight for them. So that's how I played, the extra 4 years, because they knew I was an asset because I could do that. And I could go in and play quality minutes, I could start if they wanted me to start. I could play all the positions. So, that's what I did, man. I was just one of those guys, a utility guy. Even the year I won the Super Bowl, I was the sixth best man off the bench. You know what I'm saying? I was the sixth man of the year, put it like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you had that versatility, but really that knowledge to be able to learn all three positions. That's not easy.
Absolutely. So
now you won a Super Bowl with Pittsburgh.
Yes, I did. My second to last year, it was the 05-06 season. I retired in 07, and I retired because I ruptured my quad muscle from my kneecap, just totally severed my quad muscle. And it was like, ever seen somebody rip their bicep and it, comes up here?
Yeah.
That's what happened to my whole quad muscle. It balled up in my leg. So I can remember the doc came out and said, "Look, Brooksy, you're good. So what are you talking about? You're good. You got that nursing thing. You go." I said, "Yeah, I went to nursing school. What are you saying?" He said, "Well, somebody half your size, half your age couldn't come back from this." All right. That's how I learned I was retiring, So, but yeah. It was 12 years is a long career, man. And I enjoyed it.
No, that's awesome. And that Super Bowl, who'd Pittsburgh beat in that Super Bowl? Who'd you guys beat?
We actually beat the Seattle Seahawks. During that time, it was Holmgren was a guy over there. They had a great team. Sean Alexander. They had some really good players on those teams, and we beat them up pretty good.
Wait, now was that Seahawks team the last Seahawks team to go back to the Super Bowl back to back for the NFC?
No. This is the Super Bowl 40. I was in Super Bowl 40.
Got it. That's a little farther back. Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm old, man. I'm old. I retired in 07. Those are recent Super Bowls. That's Russell Wilson's Super Bowls.
That's Russell Wilson. You were there. Who was the quarterback? Who was the quarterback for Seattle in the Super Bowl that year?
Oh man, who was it? It was pretty. What was it? He's an analyst for ESPN now.
Trent Dilfer?
Not Trent. No, it wasn't Trent.
Hasselbeck.
Yep. Hasselbeck. Yeah.
Yeah, and that Sean Alexander team. Now, I remember that team now.
Right.
So now you played for Pittsburgh, the Eagles, the Lions, the Browns, the Broncos, the Packers, the Giants. But yet you come back to Philadelphia. Was this your favorite place?
You know what? It's my wife. My wife is from here, so I had to come back anyways. But
happy wife, happy life.
Right. So I had to come back. But I don't have like my two favorite teams, two places that I love playing was here because I got drafted here. They gave me my opportunity, but I won a Super Bowl with Pittsburgh, so it kind of evens out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I can't say one is more favorite than the other one because, they gave me my start. I got drafted. You know what I'm saying? It broke me out of poverty. You know what I'm saying? So, I love the Eagles. I love how the city treated me. And then, but, going to Pittsburgh and have that family, I can still go there right now and not pay for a meal, not have to buy a drink when I go to a bar. That's how much they love their fans there also. So, it's to me, it's like even. Like I had a chopper built when I like for my gift to myself for being in the NFL, I had a chopper built. It wasn't an Orange County chopper, but it was like that coffin tank on it. You know what I'm saying? I love my bike. Well, I put a symbol on it, and I don't know if you can really see it. Let me see if I can get you to see it. Like I got 76 with the Eagles, 72 with the Steelers, and that's like my logo. And I put my logo on my chopper. That's because I love both of them equally. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where I can't pick one from another one.
No, that makes sense. If you're following along on social, you got to see the tat. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So, I remember I went to a Steelers-Eagles game back in, I guess this was been 2001 or 2002. I'm trying to remember what year it was.
Yeah.
And I drove out to Pittsburgh. Me and my buddy drove out to Pittsburgh, and we park in the middle of a Pittsburgh tailgate. We get out of the car. We're in all Eagles gear, and there's a big Pittsburgh tailgate going on, and the Steelers fans yell over, "Yo, you from Philly?" And now I turn around, put my chest out, thinking it's going to be like it is.
It's going to be
Philly.
Going down. Yeah.
Like we're about to get into it, and I go, "Yeah." And they said, "Welcome to Pittsburgh, man. Come on over, have a beer, have some food." They were so nice to us. Nice to us. I
totally
said to them, I go,
families.
"If you were in Philly, you would not have been getting the same treatment. But yeah,
absolutely, man. You know what? That was probably in 03, 04.
Yeah, you know what? I think it was because it was the year
we beat the Eagles that game. We beat them pretty good.
Yeah, the Steelers beat us. I think the Eagles were 7-0 and the Steelers were 6-1. It was the year we had T.O. They went to the Super Bowl, so it must have been the 03-04 season or
because I'll tell you what, it was supposed to be an all Pennsylvania Super Bowl because we had actually it was Ben wasn't starting the season. We had Maddox. We won our first game. The second game we played the Ravens, and they knocked Maddox out the game. Ben comes in. The next week he starts, and he runs off like 14 games in a row. And we had beat up on my Eagles. We had beat the hell out of the Patriots. Right after that, we beat we beat them bad too. And then we got into the AFC Championship game. We're playing the Patriots, and that's where all that SpyGate stuff came in because, first of all, they were supposed to be sick. They're supposed to have 20 guys that had the flu. Man, they came down and whooped they stomped us. I can remember going into the game, and they knew the plays before we did. You know, I could hear, all those guys, Rodney Harrison say, draw. And then Ben comes in, and he calls a draw play. I'm like, what is going on? Teddy Bruschi knowing the play. Hey, they're going to sprint to the right. And then moving the entire defense over because they knew our plays before it happened. So, yeah, they cheated me out of I should have 2 Super Bowls now because we were supposed to be in that Super Bowl against it. It was supposed to be all Pennsylvania Super Bowl. But, long story long, they cheated better than we did. I'm mad at our coaches because they couldn't cheat as well as they did.
Yeah, that was the spot. I still am mad that the NFL destroyed those recordings. We have no idea what those SpyGate films would have shown.
Exactly. I know because they definitely knew our whole defense and offense. They were calling plays out before we did. So, I mean, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. They chose to cheat, and they won Super Bowls because of it.
Yeah, and I remember the Eagles players, the defensive players, were also saying that the Patriots offense knew when they were blitzing, they knew what they would check it into a screen or different plays against the blitz. It's frustrating, and I can't imagine being in your shoes, being an actual player. I'm only a fan, and I'm frustrated.
Oh, I'm still a little hot because of it. Still a little hot, man. But hey, they cheated better than we did, so that's kudos to them.
Well, let's jump into this 2023 Eagles team. We were talking a little bit in the beginning. You said you think this team is a very, very good team. We should be confident as Eagles fans. One of the position battles I want to talk to you about is there hasn't been a lot of change on that offense, thankfully. A lot of these guys are coming back. A lot of these skill players are coming back. But that offensive line is intact with the exception of the right guard position. Who, in your opinion, is going to win that starting right guard position?
Cam Jurgens is going to win the job. Everybody's saying, oh, he's too small to play. That's because we have the idea in our heads that, because he plays center, he's the same size as Kelsey. He's not the same size. He's bigger than Kelsey. Cam Jurgens is, 6'3", 305 pounds. Probably going into this camp, probably 308, right around there. I mean, he'll lose some, but, he's a big guy. In fact, Isaac Seumalo's 6'4", 305. So he's probably thicker than Isaac. So, I mean, he can play the position. He's not too small to play that guard. He will be fine there at guard. I mean, he's going to Stowlin University. Coach Scout is going to make sure that those guys are ready to play. Tyler Steen, if he's called upon, he'll come in and he'll play pretty reliable. But will he be able to play as good as Cam Jurgens? I doubt that seriously. Cam's a great athlete. Tit for tat, he can do everything Kelsey can do. He can block at the second level. He can get there. He knows the entire offense because he plays center. He can make the calls from that position. So it'll be a pretty seamless transition for him going in. And, I mean, all else fails, he's protected by 2 Pro Bowl Hall of Fame guys in Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey. So he'll be just fine to that position. In fact, this offensive line will be the best offensive line in the NFL, bar none, even with the new addition with Cam Jurgens.
Wow, I like it. Yeah, I mean, we saw Cam Jurgens only a little last year in the preseason, but in that preseason, he looked like he was going to be an absolute stud in the NFL.
Yes, he is. When Kelsey finally does hand the reins over, they'll be well equipped to go forward as still one of the dominant offensive lines in the NFL because Cam Jurgens. I mean, he was handpicked by Kelsey. Kelsey said, look, I want this guy here to be my heir apparent. And, Howie Roseman listened to him and got him there.
Yeah, and you mentioned Stoutland University. And I was watching you on Bird's Huddle yesterday talking about Jordan Mailata, watching him sing at his wedding. I mean, that guy, he is a freak of nature. I mean, he's an unbelievable athlete. He can sing. He's been playing football for what, 5 years?
He's learned how to be an offensive lineman in 5 years. It took me 20 years, and I'm still not as good as him. I mean, he's 6'8", 370 pounds, runs like a deer, and can sing and play the ukulele. Come on, man. It's just not fair, man. When God was handing his gifts out, he must have went back in line and got a couple more gifts, man, because I tell you what, talking about a great guy with all the intangibles, all the athleticism you want, and then he has a nasty streak in him now also. He's going to be good. In fact, he will be, I said it yesterday, he will be the best left tackle in football this year. And that's even over Trent Williams.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually did a video on our Instagram about 2 weeks ago talking about Jordan Mailata.
Yes,
and I said the same thing, that the way he's grown and improved every single season, I expect big things from him this year. He had a good year last year, but I do expect the same thing you, Barrett, that he's going to be the best left tackle in the NFL this year.
Well, I mean, he would have been it last year if he hadn't gotten hurt. I mean, he actually tore his shoulder up pretty good. For him to stay on the field and play because of his quarterback just goes to show, the commitment that he has for Jalen Hurts. Like I said, before, he went out there, and once he figured out, that, all right, I can really hit people and hurt people and still be a good guy, it turned the page for him, man. It really turned the page for him. In fact, I mean, I'm so glad the Saints got him mad, that Davenport got him mad, and from that point on, he's turned it up and played at a high level because he's got a nasty streak in him now. So, I mean, I can't wait to see him play next year.
Yeah, I agree with you. So jumping over to the other side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball, not the same as the offense. There's been a lot of turnover, a lot of changes.
Yes,
they lose both starting linebackers and they lose both starting safeties. I mean, who do you see stepping in at linebacker and at safety to really help this team in 2023?
Well, I mean, we definitely need Nakobe Dean to come out, and be what we drafted him to be. I mean, he got a chance last year to sit back and learn from a really good, I call him a nuts and bolts linebacker. When you talk about the way TJ Edwards played the game, he wasn't gifted with all the speed and the intangibles, but what he did work on was his ability to just go out there and want. He had that want to. He wanted to be great, so he trained himself, got his body in shape, shed some pounds, started getting it a little faster. He did it the hard way with hard work. And he learned from a guy that, basically never took he couldn't afford to take a misstep this way or a misstep that way, with the read. He had to make sure he was on time with all his reads and everything else. So he kind of learned from a technician standpoint on how to play the linebacker position, because TJ Edwards couldn't take, like, when you look at White, Kazir White could afford to take a misstep or two this way because he was so damn fast, he can get back into the play. TJ Edwards couldn't do that. So everything he did was refined from a linebacker position. If he knew that he had to make a play to the right and the reads were going somewhere else, but he knew the play was coming back here, he couldn't afford to take that misstep nowhere. He had to go exactly where he knew the play was going. And that's what made TJ. His reads were impeccable. He understood what they were trying to do to him. And Nakobe Dean learned that from him. Now, Nakobe Dean's a better athlete than TJ Edwards. He may be on the smallest side, but I've seen some guys that are small play very, very well. In fact, I still probably got, Sam Mills' helmet print in my chest when he hit me in my chest. Talking about a little guy. He hit me in my chest. I pulled around the corner, not looking where I was going, and Sam Mills laid me out. He hit me so hard in my chest, it took the breath of me. It almost took my soul away from me, man. So I don't want to hear about him being too small. He'll be just fine. He's quick. He's instinctual. And he had the benefit of playing behind a guy that really, really was a technician for the game. So he's going to be the signal caller. He's going to have to step up. He's going to have to be that guy. Morrow will probably go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was going to bring up Nick Morrow, who you're about to bring up. I mean, he looks like he's going to be a tackling machine. But, back to Dean real quick. And this is a guy who he did it in the SEC. So when you talk about him being undersized, he's already played against the best talent they have in college.
Exactly. He was the leader on that defense 2 years ago when he was playing. And, we're talking about a defense the last 3 years, all 11 starters are in the NFL right now from that team 2 years ago.
Most of them are on the Eagles.
Right. Right. So we're talking about Walker was the number 1 pick in the draft 2 years ago to went to Jacksonville. He's starting in the league. You look at everybody. I mean, Kylie Ringo, corner. I mean, all those guys, all the safeties got drafted. All the linebackers got drafted. All the defensive linemen were drafted. So we're talking about the best team in the NFL. I mean, the best team in college football. We went and cherry picked that whole roster from Georgia. So, I mean, we're going to have some success, man. So, yeah, Morrow, he's like you say, he's a tackling machine. He's on the smaller side also. But that's the way offenses are playing these days. They're playing a lot of 11 personnel. So he's going to have to go out there and cover running backs, tight ends, maybe even a corner. Play the corner position at the linebacker position out there on the slot sometimes, playing against a tight end out in space. He's going to have to do those type of things. But I believe that he can. And Nakobe has to be an every down linebacker. I'm talking about first through the fourth, fourth down. He's got to be able to stop the run on first and second down, pass rush, or drop back and pass coverage on third down. And then fourth down, when he's got to, tighten up his jock strap, he's got to be that nail to hit wherever that ball's going and make a play. So he has to be that every down linebacker. I can see Morrow being a guy that's going to be especially good on third down. They should be balanced. They should be all right in the middle of that defense.
Yeah. So you got confidence in Nakobe going into 23?
I got a lot of confidence in Nakobe. Not so much in Nick Morrow, but I do have a lot of confidence in Nakobe.
And then jumping to that safety position behind the linebackers. I mean, thankfully, the Eagles bring back all their corners. I was a surprise that they brought back Bradbury and Slay.
Unbelievable. What is Howie doing? I mean, I don't understand how he was able to do it, but he did it.
Yeah, I'm not complaining at all. Howie, he did some amazing things this offseason. But at that safety position, no big splashes. They bring in Terrell Edmonds from Pittsburgh. They drafted guy. Yeah, they drafted Sidney Brown. They still have Reed Blankenship. I mean, who do you see stepping in to take over at those safety positions since they lost both starters?
It'll be Blankenship and Edmonds to start out when they do run their big nickel, meaning 3 linebackers. I think Kavon Wallace has earned the right to get some playing time. I know a lot of people are going to be like, okay, he doesn't. No, for the latter part of last season, Kavon Wallace was a sure tackler. He played well in the box. Man to man, he was able to go out and cover on tight ends. To me, he filled the void that they didn't have when CJ was out, when they needed a box safety. He was that guy. So big nickel, he'll start out there. But I tell you what, I played with some great safeties during my NFL career. I played with Brian Dawkins, and I played with Troy Polamalu. And I talked earlier about want to. Those guys wanted to be great. Now, I'm not saying that Sidney Brown has the athletic talent that those guys have, because those were, superior athletes. I mean, I've never seen a better athlete than Brian Dawkins. I can remember I played, it was my second year. We had these charity basketball games. I threw an alley-oop from half court to Brian. He went up in the air, and when he dunked it, he was looking inside the cylinder. He was that high in the air. You know what I'm saying? He dunked it like this. So we're talking about a phenomenal athlete in B-Dog. Troy was, the same thing. Troy would line up on the right side of the field, knowing he had to be that deep safety in the middle of the field. And at the snap of the ball, he was fast enough and instinctual enough to get back to where he's supposed to be at, fool the quarterback, and into the wrong read. And that's why he was such a good player. He was that quick that he could do those type of things. Sidney Brown has that 1-2 also. I mean, everybody was talking about there in Illinois, they had this cornerback, Witherspoon, that everybody was talking about. But as I'm trying to watch Witherspoon, Sidney Brown just kept jumping out on tape. I'm like, who is this kid? We need to pick this kid up. And I started watching more and more tape on him. And I stopped watching on Witherspoon. I started watching more on Sidney Brown. He has that 1-2. He's going to be a special player. He's going to try to work himself into that rotation. And I would dare to say that at some point he might be starting at the latter part of the season. If what I've seen on tape equates to what they're going to do in the NFL, he's going to be a good player, and it's going to be hard to keep Sidney Brown off the field.
Wow, that would be a good thing. Now, you mentioned Kavon Wallace too. The only concern I have with Wallace is it almost appears as if he's had the opportunity. There's been injuries. There's been times that he could step in, and he just can't take that job and run with it.
Yep, and that's when you get an opportunity, you gotta go out there and make the best of the opportunity. He hasn't until the latter part of last year taken advantage of the opportunity. Well, he took advantage of that. Is it too late for him? I don't know, because he's got some pretty good guys breathing down his neck right now. So when I look at it, he let a guy come in as a rookie, an undrafted rookie, come in and play in front of him, Reed Blankenship. I wouldn't let that happen, and if I want to stay around, So Reed jumped in front of him. I mean, Reed he had the ugliest number in football. He had 47 at the safety position. But during training camp, he's 32 now, but he had 47. But he made that 47.
Not making the team, right?
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say, but I was like, no. But yeah, he was the ugliest number in the NFL playing the safety position, but he made that number jump off on tape the entire preseason. I mean, he was making tackles, making plays every time he got an opportunity. He made the most of his opportunity. Hell, he picked off the GOAT. Anytime you can pick off A-Rod, Aaron Rodgers, he picked him off. Slay said, I've never picked off him. Here's a rookie comes in, an undrafted free agent rookie, comes in and picks off A-Rod. So, man, the kid has some talent. He can play, man. So it's going to be hard to keep Sidney Brown off the field. And Kavon Wallace, he might have an opportunity. He just got to go out there and make sure he fits the bill. He takes advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, and that interception that Blankenship had off A-Rod, what made it so great, it wasn't a fluke. I mean, he read it. He jumped the route. That was a great play.
Straight downhill, read the play, took advantage of it, and he got there. I thought A-Rod said, you know what? He can't get there. No, he can't get there. Oh, he got there. He made the play.
Yeah. So we've been talking a lot about this 2023 team. You have a lot of confidence in them. But is there anything that you are concerned about going into this season with this team?
I think I'm still. I mean, even though I've got glaring issues when it comes to the health of this team. Even though they were the healthiest team last year, they had all 22 starters, and that's unheard of playing the Super Bowl. All 22 starters. So they take care of their players. But, I mean, who's going to be the guy to step up if one of the receivers goes down? If Smitty or Brown goes down, who's going to fill that void? Who's going to fill the void if one of the linebackers goes down? Now, a guy we haven't been talking about, a guy we should be talking about, is Christian Ellis. Christian Ellis might beat out Nicholas Morrow. He might beat him out. He's that good.
Yeah, I heard at the OTAs he was just all over the field, Ellis.
Oh, man. When he got an opportunity, look what he did against the Saints. Both he and Nakobe Dean balled against the Saints and also balled against the Titans. So you get those guys opportunities, they're going to jump in and play. And every time Christian has got in there, he's went in there and played well. In fact, I played with his pops, in Detroit. And he was really, really good defensive lineman from I think he went to Utah. What was Ellis? Man, we got drafted the same year. Well, that's the year there, but Christian Ellis is a baller. He is somebody that he might end up starting at one of those linebacker positions, because he's that good. It's going to be hard pressed to keep 53 off the field.
But that would be a good problem to have.
Absolutely. But like I said, health is, and then also when I look at the tight end position, we have a great tight end, and that's Dallas Goedert. We can play that, but when he was out, the offense kind of sputtered a little bit. Can Grant Calcaterra step up? I mean, they used him last year almost like a fullback / H-back / tight end position guy, and that's pretty good that you can do that. I mean, I hope that Johnson is able to take advantage of that athleticism that he had. I still don't know what Kyrie Jackson is. He's been hurt.
I've had such high hopes for him. I thought Kyrie Jackson was going to be a freak athlete at that tight end position. He just can't stay healthy. Freakish athlete. I mean, I call college football games on the weekends, and I can remember calling when he calling a game. He was at the quarterback position. He played against
Temple. And I mean, I just couldn't see him being anything but a quarterback. But, he came in and, when I was watching him in camp, he looked like he was a pretty good tight end. He just hasn't done it on the field, so. And he let, Grant came in and showed, hey, I can be a lead fullback and block, like a fullback. I can go out there and play inline tight end, line up at the line of scrimmage and block a guy. I can put me in a wing position. You can even put me out there at the slot position, and I can play slot receiver. If Grant can step up like he did last year in like the Giants game, the last Giants game, the last regular season Giants game, he could be somebody we can look towards the future of being a weapon in that offense.
Yeah, the Eagles did sign. I think this was more of a depth move. They brought in that Dan Arnold.
Yeah, from Jacksonville. Yeah.
He's had some decent years in the league. I think he had a couple years with about 400 yards receiving, so he may be able to step in. But it's a huge drop-off after Dallas Goedert. I mean, Goedert's one of the best in the league. But
yeah, they don't know if they trust Jack Stahl to be a guy that's going to go out there and be a pass-catching tight end. He'll block you, but I don't know if they really trust his hands. Even though he did get an opportunity, he caught a couple at the end of the season. Jack Stahl is their inline blocker, I guess.
Now, the last question for you is, I know you talked about it a little bit yesterday on Bird's Huddle too. That Super Bowl hangover is a real thing, especially being the Super Bowl loser. It's hard to repeat as the winner. It's even harder to get back as the loser. But you feel confident that this team can overcome that Super Bowl hangover this year?
I do, because, they're just fundamentally sound. Anytime you're built well in the trenches, I would venture to say that I know we have the number one offensive line in the NFL. But, man, I mean, it's hard-pressed me not to say they're not the number one defensive line also. Yes, I'm looking at San Fran's defensive line. They got Hargraves there. I mean, they're good. They got Bosa. They're pretty good. But when you look at the defense that we have here, Jalen Carter was he was the number one player in last year's draft. If it wasn't for all the stuff, off the field stuff, and, the mere fact that quarterbacks are such a commodity, he would have been the number one pick, just like Walker was the number one pick last year. The year before that, he would have been the number one pick if he didn't go through all that stuff. So I'm not glad he went through it, but I'm glad we were able to pick him up at number 9. So Jalen Carter is going to make he's going to go out there and make a real bite at being defensive rookie of the year. We still got Fletcher Cox playing a high level, but Josh Sweat rushing a passer, man, he has refined himself as one of the better pass rushers in the league. And we already know we got a 18.5 sack guy in Hassan Reddick. But then you look at Nolan Smith. He may not get as many reps as the other guys, but I believe when opportunity comes, he's going to step up and he's going to play well at the pass rusher position. Man, he runs a 4.3. Come on, man. That's hard for a guy to, block a guy going that fast and you're going backwards. So I can see him stepping it up. BG's old, but situational football, he's one of the best that ever do it. Had 11 sacks last year. And to me, Milt Williams, when you start talking a little more about him, because he's going to try to push for as many reps as he can. So we have enough there. Jordan Davis going to have to be that number one first down and second down guy. He's got to be able to go out there and fill it. If they pass it, he's got to collapse the pocket from the inside. When they try to run it, he's got to be that movable rock, man. He's got to be right there. He's got to be the rock in the middle of that defense that you can't push around. So they're talented. I would venture to say they're the best defensive line in football also.
Yeah, as you're just shooting off these names, it's amazing how deep they are. Every one of these guys has the potential to be a Pro Bowl defensive lineman. Every one.
Absolutely. And and you got a guy like Derek Barnett probably won't make the squad. But, man, anytime you're cutting a first-rounder like that, that's saying a lot how deep you guys are, And we're not even talking about guys, that have the ability to be really good too. Like they drafted a guy in the 7th round, Morrow Ojomo from Texas. Athletic, freakish talent. Teron Jackson, he's been hurt, but he can rush the passer. They have guys that can go out there and do it. It's just about them going out and doing it. So, this will be a prove-it year. And it's going to take a lot for guys to, get reps, quality reps, because of guys in there are so good that, it's going to be hard for them to really get the reps that they want. They're going to make Fletcher Cox a situational football player. Anytime you can have that talented of a guy be a situational football player, that means your defensive line is really, really good. So in the fourth quarter, when you need something to happen, you go to that old vet. You go to that guy that's been out there and is very seasoned. He has enough in the tank at the end of the game. The offensive line is tired. He'll make some plays. So that's why I said they're going to be a good defensive line, and they might be the best defensive line in football.
Yeah, and another thing with this team, and I'm sure you'll agree, that can help them overcome that Super Bowl hangover is they're going to have great leadership.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Not only with the veteran guys, but Jalen Hurts has already proven he is a leader. He's a guy who's going to keep that locker room intact. He's not satisfied. I mean, he just gets one of the biggest contracts ever in the NFL, and he doesn't even miss a beat. He's back to work.
Man, ain't that cool, man? You know, you don't have to worry about him getting a big head or anything, that he's going to go out there and still work harder than anybody on the field. He's still going to be the first one in the office. You know, it's bad when he's there before the head coach. You know what I'm saying? That's how much he wants to be great, that he will be there and be the last person to leave. You know, not because he's trying to show off or anything like that, because he generally wants to be the best player. He wants to maximize everything to make sure he's the best player or best version of himself he can make of himself. So, you know, yeah, anytime you got a leader like that, it's hard pressed to really keep everybody else from noticing and want to work just as hard as him. Look at the running back position, man. I mean, Swift, they bring in Swift. Not enough footballs for all four of those guys, man. You know, Swift, Gainwell, Penny, and Scott. Not enough footballs. That's why I was saying Boston Scott, he's going to maximize his return game with kickoff return because there's not enough footballs in regular offense. So he's going to want to be great at the return game, which will allow him to go out there and really, really be a force in the kickoff return game. And maybe they put him back at punt also. You know, maybe we see a little Sprolism in him. You know, We'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited with DeAndre Swift, his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, because that's something, as good as the offense was last year, Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, and even Kenny Gainwell, they didn't catch a lot of balls out of the backfield, and that's something that Swift does really well.
Well, I think they're going to do that. I think this is going to change. That's what's going to take Jalen Hurts' game to another level now. Now he'll check down to guys that can do something with the football. Now you're checking down to Swift, who can make a little check down into like a 20-yard run. You know what I'm saying? A 30-yard run. They're that talented. Gainwell's the same way. You know, like people didn't notice in the Super Bowl when they were running the read option. Usually the way that, what's his name? That was here last year at the running back position. Oh my goodness.
Miles Sanders?
Miles Sanders, when he would run up into the line. Well, they told Gainwell, look, we want to set your target a little more to the outside. So when they ran the read option, instead of running the inside into the teeth of defense, he would read option, they would give it to him, and he would take it outside, which led to more running because the defense had to adjust to it. They couldn't get to him. So he's smart enough and fast enough to really take his game to another level because he can read things just a little bit better than even Sanders can read them. So, yeah, Gainwell's going to be a guy that's going to be vying for more opportunities to play. And then we got the guy that's going to go in there, especially in red zone, and just pound people in Rashad Penny. So this will be a really explosive offense. We just got to see how, Johnson does it. And also, from a coaching standpoint, I still want to see what Desai's going to do also.
Yeah, we don't really know what type of defense we're going to have. I think it'll be similar to last year's, but obviously it'll be a little bit different.
Absolutely.
But, Barrett, I appreciate you coming on, man. The only problem is you got me so excited now for this season, and we're only in July. We're talking about this defensive line, Jalen Hurts, the running back room. I just can't wait to see it. And it's July. I'm going nuts over here.
Man, it's 22 days away from camp, man? I cannot wait to be down there in that blistering heat watching football again, man. I'll take it.
There is nothing better. But, yeah, Barrett, I really appreciate the time, man. And, guys, thanks for listening, as always. And, again, if you're not already following us on social media, head on over, give us a like, give us a follow. Barrett, appreciate it. That was awesome. That was absolutely awesome.
Appreciate you, man. Have me on anytime, bro.
Awesome. We're definitely going to hold you to that and have you back on during the season. So.
And also, this is in the summertime. I can't wait to get on your show mid-season and say, I told you so. It's all right to have nice things, Philly. It's all right. It's good to have nice things, okay?
Yeah, remember that. It's good to have nice things, and it's okay. You don't have to be so scared.
Right.
So, guys, thanks for listening, and as always, go Birds.